That's one, two.
It was so fun. It really was. Yeah. And Ralph. I know you do. Oh my God, it's so funny. Mom's trying to, Ralph is drawing the ball, and my mom's going all here.
Did you get that water from your car or from the kitchen?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
My turn.
Please. Yeah.
My mic on?
Please stand for the pledge.
It's like everywhere.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the prayer. Grant us, O Lord, light to our understanding, prudence in our investigating, foresight in our planning, sincerity in our deliberating, the grace to follow truth in our judgment. Help us to be moved in our decision, neither by fear nor by self-interest, and to do our work faithfully. May we respect the authority vested in us, for thou art the source of all authority, and may we use it in the directives for the common good, for thy honor and glory. Amen. All to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce, Mrs. Joyce, Mrs. Hardwick, Mrs. Mara.
Here.
Mr. Conrad.
Present.
Mr. Thompson.
Present.
Thank you. We'll start with public comment. So if anyone would like to come up, please state your name and address. Please turn the microphone on. Please.
Alan Peterson, Tenawassa, 22-year resident. To my recollection of the last four police chiefs, our current chief is the only one who has done and still does regular patrols. Maybe because of COVID or the negative attitudes toward police. Chief Schofield has had a deal with more challenging times. During those patrols, I noticed her public relations strategies through giving out doggy cooks and interacting with residents. She shows that the police are people too. During the last month's council meeting, the chief explained some of the steps for recruiting staff. At the same time, I was amazed and I realized the necessary administrative skills that the chief exhibited through those experiences and training procedures. So on behalf of many of our residents who may or may not be aware of all the chief's qualifications and contributions, she makes. I would like to thank Chief Schofield for her above and beyond dedication to the police department and the village. I feel that we are in great hands. We are blessed to have her. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gail.
Anyone else?
Did you say anyone else?
Yes.
Hi, good evening, council. My name is Elizabeth Waters. I live at 3 East Shore Boulevard, and I've been here 2 days over a year. So I'm a newbie. I'm here with my son, Rob, who also lives with me. So as you're all aware, we had a pretty big storm the night of August 24th, caused a lot of damage in my backyard. But I had it all cleaned up, but there's still a very large old tree that is uprooted and literally hanging on a second tree. It's threatening not just but my home, but our lives. I've had 3 arborists out for quotes. All 3 stated that it is an imminent threat. I made arrangements to have it taken down, but was stopped when my neighbor, David Dewey of 34343 Lakeshore Boulevard. So he's right. It's that weird intersection where 3, 1, and then it's a bigger number. He's on Lakeshore right down here. He denied me access through his driveway. The access is needed because it's a very large tree and none of the tree workers would take on the job without a crane. David stated that if I wanted to have a crane back there, I would have to sign a document stating that I would pay for any damage made to his gravel driveway and the pipes underneath. I declined to do that, stating that he had heavy equipment in and out of his driveway all summer long as they worked on the erosion control that I know we all heard. So he invited me at that time to run a camera through the pipes to assess their functioning at my expense. At that time, I felt like I was at a bit of a standstill and I felt like he was being unreasonable. And I called our mayor. John Meyer has spoken to him, I believe more than on one occasion, but I cannot speak to what those conversations were about. I wasn't there. John did advise me to file a police report, which I did. And on Saturday, the 26th of August, when I filed the report, our chief was there. She took my report and she also walked over and tried to knock on his door and talk to him. And though I believe you said he was home, you saw him, he wouldn't answer his door. So the police chief questioned, looking at it, if it was even my tree, as it has uprooted his stone path that runs along his house. She suggested I get a survey done and that if I could prove that it was his tree, the city could maybe do something. So I had a survey done. I have all kinds of documents for you that I can leave with you. And it clearly shows that it is all on his property. They also left stakes in the ground and they show where my property cuts off. It's a little wonky back there. When I shared this information with the police chief though, she said she wasn't sure what anyone could do. On September 22nd, I'm sorry, this is a little long because it's been going on for 3 months. On September 22nd, I sent David and his wife, Natalia, a certified letter stating that I had proof it was his tree and it represented a clear and present danger to myself, my property, and my children. He never picked up the letter. So after notification from the post office that it wasn't delivered, I sent David a text stating the same. I have a legal survey, it's his responsibility, and letting him know that it was a threat. He has not answered that. As the mayor was campaigning, he stopped by my house. We spoke about the tree again. I shared with him that I have the survey, and though it's not my tree, that tree is leaning on one of my own. These are, right, you guys, it's not a twig. We're talking, so it's leaning on one of my trees. My tree is now leaning, okay. At that time, sorry, I lost my train of thought. At that time, the mayor said, get a lawyer. I've called 2. Both of those lawyers have said to me that the city should be handling this, not me. They questioned why it wasn't a public safety hazard and it wasn't being handled by the city. They gave me incidences of things that happened in Cleveland Heights and Menor and that kind of thing, that like sidewalk cracks, that kind of thing that the city will go after the owner for. So I then contacted both Mayor John Mara and Councilman Kevin Thompson. And I'm sorry if you're here, I don't know what you look like. We talked on the phone. Hi. I guess you're the head of the street committee. So I told you guys all what was going on and they both said they didn't know what could be done. I'm here to ask you to act, okay? I do not believe that tree is going to make it through this winter. If they're calling for an El Nino, and that's a warmer than usual winter. That means ice, not snow, and we all know that ice is heavy. That tree is coming down. All right, and it's gonna take out the second tree and it's gonna land on my property. One of the arborists said, it's not just gonna take out your roof, that's gonna take out your foundation. It's that big, okay? So I'm not here to ask the city to pay to take it down. As you said to me, you can't do for me, what about everyone else? I'm asking you to make him take it down as a public safety threat. I have looked at our ordinances online and found two I think are applicable. As both of you had said to me, you're not sure you have anything in writing. Okay, so I found two. City Ordinance 32-2021, which was adopted by this council in 2022, and the amended Charter 1026, which was entitled Trees. In Section 1, named Ordinance number 1026-02, it discusses the responsibility of the homeowner. It states that each owned homeowner shall assume complete responsibility for the purchase, planting, maintaining, trimming, and removing of trees in and along the streets of the village. I'm asking you to please, for the safety of my family, enforce this ordinance and require him to take down that tree. He will not let me. I tried. In addition, I found another ordinance which might be used to allow you to take it out and bill him. 274.05, planting, maintaining, and removal of trees. And this was on our website under the tree committee section. The Tree Conservation and Landscaping Commission shall provide for the issuance of permits for the planting, maintenance, and removal of any and all trees in public places within the village, and further shall provide for the pruning and removal of any and all trees on private property which endanger public safety. I've spoken with lawyers. I've discussed it with the surveyor because there seemed to be some question about this, the validity of the survey. I called him. He's like, that is a legal survey. I guess the one I got a year and 2 days ago was not a legal survey. It's just a boundary survey. I had a legal survey done at my expense, by the way. Everyone has assured me it is his tree. I spoke with my insurance company who stated that, of course, he would be liable for any and all damages, but that's being reactive, and I do not want to be reactive. The arborist stated, like I said, that tree's not going to just take out my roof, it's going to take out the foundation. So I'm here to be proactive. It's been 3 months with no resolution and winter's coming. I'm asking for your help to facilitate a safe outcome. Because it's not just my home, and here's I have a son with special needs who will not move if he hears a crack. I'm sorry, this has been a long time going on, and it's not just my house. If it was money, okay, let the insurance companies figure it out. I have a son with special needs who will not move just because he hears a crack. Rob will move, he will run. He'll be in another city before I will move. Sammy will not move. So my insurance company literally said to me, don't use that part of the house. It's my whole house. I'm not supposed to move my house because this guy's not cooperating. Thank you for your time, and I really appreciate your consideration. And I'm happy I have the survey. I have some pictures of the trees. I know some of you have seen it, some of you haven't. And I have my statement, if you'd like me to leave it with you.
Thank you, and sorry for what you're going through.
Your mom.
I'm sorry, you were going to be taking the tree down.
I was willing to pay to take the tree down, but and he said, yes, sir, as long as you fix my driveway and the night lights. At this point, I'm not willing to take the tree down.
Sorry. Anyone else?
That's okay.
Hello. Elizabeth Lobb of East 9 East Shore is visiting family and is unavailable to attend tonight's meeting. So she asked for me to submit this statement for her. Elizabeth Lobb, 9 East Shore. And it goes as follows. Since I was the victim of Cindy Hardwick's verbal attack, I have made numerous requests through email, in person, and by phone to have her intimidating behavior addressed. Can the mayor please provide what progress has been made in addressing the improper conduct of the council president Hardwick? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, or questions?
Yep. You guys look different from this side.
Better, I hope.
What's your name, Boulevard?
Yes, I will. It's Cynthia Hardwick and I live at 41 East Shore Boulevard. I want to first speak about the Lob Hardwick encounter that happened on August 25th. Wow, can you believe it's been 3 months has passed and it's still alive and breathing? I wanted to tell my side of the story and point out all the omissions and inaccuracies that Mrs. Lob's blurb contained. But I don't want to waste my mayor, my council, my solicitors, or my residents' time on this petty and childish incident that continues to go on. Does anybody know or have it been shared that I apologized? Okay. The whole thing is laughable. I don't know what else to say. 3 months over this is ridiculous. Now my next thing is, if any of my residents have any questions as to why the investigative unit for liquor control was called for our family fun day and turned in, I do have the complaint with me. You are welcome to read it and do what you'd like to do with it. It was a one-sided attack on me personally, yet on the whole Village Club. I have a really funny story to tell you about my picture almost ending up on the walls of the post office in a wanted poster. But that's another story for another time. I'm going to end with these few words of wisdom. If you've been offended by someone, forgive them. If you've offended someone, apologize. Don't drag around resentment with you. It only serves to make you sad and bitter. It doesn't matter who is right. Someone once said, holding a grudge is like taking poison and expecting the other person to die. Don't take that poison. Forgive, forget, and move on with your life. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Moving on. Food and welfare. What I'd like to do is, I'd like to thank all the village residents who came out to vote on November 7th. Thank you for entrusting me to another 4 years to serve as your mayor. I would like to assure you that I will persist in the improvement of our appearance of our village, repair of our storm infrastructure, restore our tree canopy, and maintain a sound and fiscal council. My goal is to persist to have a surplus for any emergencies that may arise. In closing, my promise is to work diligently and impartially with council and our fiscal officer with my best intentions for all residents to serve as mayor for all. Thank you. God bless. With that, we'll move on to the reading and disposition of the minutes. And do I have a motion to approve the regular council meetings of October 17, 2023, please? So moved. Mr. Joyce makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Joyce seconds. Discussion, questions, comments on it? Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick,
Nay.
Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Mr. Thompson,
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Thank you. Next, I have a motion for special council meeting of October 18, 2023, please. Mr. Joyce makes a motion.
I'll second.
Mrs. Mara seconds. Any corrections, errors, questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce,
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve special council meeting of October 26, 2023, please?
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Mrs. Mara makes a motion. Mr. Joyce second. Discussion, corrections? Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick.
Aye.
Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to legislation. Resolution number 2023-33 on second reading. Resolution approving the permanent appropriation funds for the village of Timberlake, Ohio for the year of 2024 and declare an emergency. Next is resolution number 2023-34, second reading. A resolution authorizing the fiscal officer to transfer $40,000 from the general fund, 1,000 as follows. $20,000 to the police cruiser capital fund 4901 and $20,000 to the village hall capital fund 4903 for the current fiscal year 2023 and declared an emergency. Next is resolution 2023-35, second reading. A resolution authorizing the fiscal officer to transfer $43,000 from the general fund 1,000 to the paving improvement OPWC debt service fund 3902 for the fiscal year 2024 and declaring an emergency. Next is resolution 2023-38. A resolution amending the permanent appropriation funds for the village of Timberlake, Ohio for the year 2023 and declaring an emergency. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
Make a motion.
Mrs. Mara makes the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Joyce seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick.
Aye.
Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Do I have a motion approving resolution number 2023-38, please?
Make a motion.
Mrs. Mara makes a motion. Second. Mr. Joyce seconds. Discussion.
So this is for our NOPEC NEC grant money. So we need to appropriate the money that we should receive once we submit quotes as far as what we'd like to spend the money on. So it's a reimbursement grant. So in other words, we have to send in the quotes and that kind of thing, and then they'll send us the funds. So
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick.
Aye.
Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Next is resolution 2023-39. Resolution authorizing and directing the mayor and fiscal officer to enter into an agreement with the Vitalone's Towing Service, Inc. and declare an emergency. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
Make a motion.
Mrs. Mara makes a motion. Do I have a second? I'll second. Mr. Joyce seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick.
Aye.
Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Do I have a motion approving resolution 2023-39, please? Moved. Mr. Joyce makes a motion.
Second.
Mr. Conrad seconds. Discussion. None being heard. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick. Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you. Next, ordinance number 10-2023 on second reading, an ordinance amending wages and salaries for the employees of the village of Timberlake, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. That's it for legislation. Next, we move on to reports. Fiscal officer's monthly report, please. Mr. Raskus.
So our ending balance for the general fund through October 31st is at $401,952. Our month-to-date revenue for October was $41,660 versus expenditures of $46,145 for a net decline for the month of $4,485. Expenditures were about $1,855 less than anticipated, and this was due to lower than estimated miscellaneous expenses. General fund revenue through October 31st is $1,580 more than last year, and revenues in October were approximately $659 more than estimated. At this time, based on current estimated spending rates and revenue, we estimate a surplus for the general fund of around $58,207. This would not include additions to our village hall or police cruiser capital funds. If our surplus declines, however, we will need to consider reducing or eliminating transfers to our capital funds at the end of this year. Also, the village needs to continue maintaining conservative spending versus our total appropriations to achieve a surplus. For example, in 2022 in the general fund, our total spending was $647,712 versus total permitted appropriations of $761,708. Other significant fund activity and miscellaneous. We did purchase a new HVAC and air purifier for the police garage, and that came out of our American Relief Plan Fund 2152, and the cost was $4,295. There were no refunds issued from the 9901 All Rental Security Deposit Refund Fund in October, and that's all I have.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, what's the reason for the overspend decline this month and expenditures being down? Is it still for tax collection rates, or it was just we had more expenses than anticipated?
For the year or
No,
October?
to date, it's net decline of 4,485 on for this month revenue versus expenditures and expenditures.
So actually our expenditures were less than anticipated for October.
Okay.
So actually we did a couple thousand better. So I mean, typically our biggest receipts come in March and either August or September for the real estate property taxes. So some of the other months tend to be deficit spending.
Are we still facing that tax collection headwind?
There are about 4 or 5 properties that owe delinquent property taxes. I don't know if you get the News Herald, but those were in there a couple of weeks ago. So there's a few $1,000s in delinquent taxes owed.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on, mayor reports. Just want to let everyone know that we will be coming up to Christmas time, so there'll be luminaires. We'll be setting those out, probably depending on the weather, right before obviously Christmas Eve. But we have the sand at the service garage. It's at the end of Mini Wawa Drive. So there'll be a barrel of sand there with a sign on top of it. So if anyone needs sand for the luminaires, you're welcome to get it down there. And if anyone needs any help, just contact me or anyone in service to help you out with that. Next thing is we are going to be advertising our old plow truck. I'm going to be listing it with Municipid. Once we get it, probably later this week, and we'll probably put it on for 2 weeks. So if anyone would like to bid on that, that's our best bet of getting top dollar for it, because that goes all over the country. So we'll be putting that out for bid. Next is yard waste. I'd like to just tell everyone that Republic will be picking up yard waste through the end of the month. And then what they'll do, so then after that, they won't be picking up anything. So you want to get everything bundled up by then. And like I said, they'll take anything as long as it's 6 foot cut up, any length like that, or if it's in the brown bags for the yard waste. The other thing I'd like to also between Christmas and New Year's, for 2 weeks after Christmas, they will be picking up Christmas trees, yard waste. So just keep that in mind also for those of you that have live Christmas trees. And the other thing is we'll be talking about, the next month, our trash contract is up for renewal. So we'll be looking at that again. So that's something we'll be looking at. Other than that, that's all I have. So, solicitor's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Hand out. If I made enough copies. So at the last, one of the meetings, there was a question about feeding wild animals and whether we could put a stop to it. So I did a little research and I provided to council several different other communities. The first one's Lyndhurst, The second one is Newcomerstown, which is a village. All that dealt with not feeding animals that are not your pets. Don't remember if it was deer we were talking about at the last meeting, but and then I provided an Ohio Administrative Code section about feeding wildlife for your information. If council feels that it's important enough, we can schedule a work session, go through some parameters and establish an ordinance that we could add to the ordinances in Timberlake, if you so desire. Any questions about that before I? All right. The only other thing, there are two things. One is I'm going to request executive session to discuss litigation. And then I know you brought up the issue of the tree. I want to check the second ordinance that you provided and take a look at it. The problem that we run into is that the first ordinance that you brought up talked about the public right of way. And the tree is clearly on private property between two private owners. And at this point, I don't believe that it is in a public right of way. And so that's why it becomes a private matter and not necessarily a police matter or a zoning matter where the village would get involved. I'll look at the second one that you brought up and take a look at that. We certainly would love to see that tree come down. And I know that I have spoken to the mayor on numerous occasions and even the police chief about ways that we could encourage getting the tree down without there having to be any action taken. Both of the attorneys that you've spoken to referred to cities. Cities have different charters than villages. And so the power under the village is different than under a city. And so that might be some of the confusion. I'm certainly more than willing to talk to any of the attorneys that you have spoken to and consult with them as to what I think what the lay of the land is and what I think they should be able to do. We do not, as I've talked to a few people on council about it, want to see you continue in this situation. But you know, right now being on private property becomes a bit more of a challenge. If it was in a situation where it was over the public right of way, then under zoning, we could take care of it, send the letter. If they don't respond, take it down, charge it back through the tax duplicate. But that's not the situation that we have. I know that doesn't satisfy your concern tonight, but I wanted to at least let you know that this is not something that we've just ignored. It's just the circumstances. We keep hoping that your neighbor is going to cooperate. And I'm not sure if anybody knows this neighbor and might be willing to go down and have a chat with him, but that would be helpful. So anyway, that's.
We were watched the morning of the storm, ran electrical wires from my house to this, so the extension cord, so he can use his refrigerator. The time that this switched was the allowing me access to for free, which somebody mentioned, I was going to take it down and it's threatening my house. And I was going to take it down and he said no.
Yeah, and I wish there was another way to approach it. I know that I had talked to the mayor about there are some apparatuses that don't require the crane per se. There's a unit that can be brought back and set up that could potentially, huh? All right.
So the other I spoke with that, I said I live in a very small. And he said that if you don't have something on your books, that it would default to Ohio law. Right. And I'm not a lawyer, but I know how to read, and I've been reading Ohio law, and it seems like when it's a danger, things can happen and things can be taken down.
Again, if you read those closely, those deal with public right-of-ways or public sidewalks where the public would be. Granted, you are part of the public, but because it's on private residences and private property, that's where the distinction comes in. So
that's very clearly stated. we can go on private property.
Well, I'll take a look at that because that was not one that I had looked at when we talked about it originally.
I understand, so.
Understood.
Do you have to access his driveway
The crane.
to get to your house? Or do you have your own driveway? I mean,
It's in the backyard, is my understanding, right?
I have my
That-
own driveway,
That's
okay,
the crux of the issue.
almost like, like 30 feet from the lake.
and there's no way around except going to his, what,
No,
about
I
the
think
other
it's
side?
charged with my other neighbor's money to get back there.
The other side? No, no.
It's too tight. Both of us have, between me and five, I guess, five, we both have air conditioners there. But then again, the issue really could be, it's on my tree. And it's against law to take someone else's tree down. During the property maintenance, 2006 property maintenance.
I don't believe so, but
He used the excuse, if I'm not mistaken, that he was afraid that you would ruin his gravel driveway with the crane, correct?
Gravel driveway. And he had construction people through there all summer long. Like heavy equipment with the big rocks and big.
thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Um, Next, is Hardwick. Reports. Move on.
I don't have any, I do have a lot to say. This place looks absolutely gorgeous, thanks to the Village Club. These gals just have visions that I don't have. And, they have the ability to take a naked tree and jazz it up so it's beautiful. The outside of the hall, I don't think in the 6 years, 5 Christmases I've been here has looked as good as it does right now. And I want to thank them, every single one of those gals who, and their helpers. I know the gardeners were very involved in every step of the way as well. So, thanks to everybody who lended a helping hand in that. I just want to remind residents that, you cannot put your leaves, blow your leaves out to the median. We have an ordinance against that. And or snow, your snowplow person or you yourself cannot blow your snow or plow your snow out of your driveway onto the median. That's not your property and you can't use it that way.
Apply the triangles too.
I believe it does. It's village property. And, I think that's about it. The hall looks, can turn the lights down and see how beautiful this is. It's just, they've done a beautiful job.
Did it from scratch.
Yep.
Like nothing.
Absolutely.
A lot of hard work.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Conrad.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, echo that sentiment. It does look nice and good. I wish I was that creative because it is impressive. So I got a few things, I guess, to talk about. The first thing I want to touch on is the tree, and it's unfortunate that, the neighbor is not cooperating, and I give you full faith that Mr. O'Leary will do everything in his power to try and find a resolution that works. But we can't pick our neighbors. I have some tough neighbors myself sometimes, and it's a struggle, but hopefully there's a result. Yeah, I get it. And those small disputes that you would think would never be a thing end up being huge in Timberlake. So welcome to Timberlake, I guess, is the best I could say. I had some hard awakenings too. No, I know, but without his cooperation, there's some struggles that we have to go through. And I'm telling you that our goal is to help as best we can and do everything in our power to help see that, because that is unfortunate. Like you said, it's over your house. You have insurance companies telling you not to go on a part of your house, like not feasible. You have a special needs son that I also, I grew up with a special needs brother, neighbors in the back are special. So I fully understand that. I'm not trying to make light of the situation by any means. I'm just saying it's unfortunate that you know, a simple resolution was put in front where you were willing to take the tree down. He wouldn't allow you access, which is, in my opinion, just not how we want to see Timberlake and how Timberlake normally functions. But it's an unfortunate situation and, you know, we, like I said, we're gonna do the best we can to help, but there are rules and laws and ordinances that give us certain power. We don't have other, I mean, that's America, right? We all have freedom and property rights are a tough situation. So I hope they are. And this guy, I mean, this
You're
guy's
telling me.
yeah. The gray hairs he has are probably more from trees than his newborn. So it's
Ordinance about that blowing your leaves. But we don't have an ordinance that you have to your trees safe.
Yeah.
The situation is public right of way versus private.
Yes.
And that's where that distinction comes.
so had the tree been, you know, within 25 feet of the street, then we could easily come take it down. We would deem it a threat. We've done it, right? The tree fell down, a resident paid for it and we reimbursed them for it, but it's just where it's
That was in
situated
the road.
on your private property. It is a private matter at that point because it's two neighbors
That was in the
disputing.
road, and it was advised that residents don't do that in the future.
Right.
because They were not guaranteed reimbursement.
Right, certainly. So it's just it's a tough situation and I just wanted to say, I feel for you and like I said, you know, we will do everything in our legal power to help, you know, nudge the situation along. There's no magic wand. We don't have a special answer where we could just go take the tree down. Cause if that was the case, I'm sure Kevin would give a part of his budget to go take this tree down because it's such a severe situation. We just don't have the legal right to do that. It's possibly, yeah. There's more work to be done. It's not a clear-cut case. And I hope it comes to a speedy resolution for your sake and your family's sake and, you know, peace of mind and being able to enjoy your house that you recently bought and enjoy in the village. Yeah. The other thing is I got these speed sign quotes that I have to outline for council. This is part of the NOPEC funding. John gracefully asked and checked into it that NOPEC would cover these signs as a part of that grant. So there's 3 quotes here. I guess 2 are similar to each other. And then one's a larger sign. So to kind of give some background, Cindy was looking into this. So Cindy, thank you for making the connection with Jim and Twistle at Traffic Logics. He was very helpful and 2 of those quotes come from Traffic Logics. And then one comes from K&K Systems. The reason K&K Systems was chosen is we actually just participated in the LTAP program via ODOT. So they have loaned us a speed radar sign to put up on Lakeshore. So that is one of our planned 2 signs to install. The second would be one of these if we decide to go forward with it. So we have one on loaner from ODOT that the mayor had to do some rewiring on, had to go pick it up from ODOT 12 District Garage over in Painesville on Blackwood Road. Gracefully, the mayor went and picked it up, got it all working. We're ready to start preliminary testing it. His house is not the best place to do it because you can't really get up to 25 and then slam on your brakes right by the garage. So we have to see and install it. It's that the one that we have on loaner is a battery powered one, so it's charged. It has a week to 2 week lifetime. It's an older unit. It's about 11 years old, but it's free and a loaner from ODOT. So we'll see how that works. Kind of just a tester case. Our intention is to put it on the north side of Lakeshore, where exactly we'll work with the chief and the police department of where the best spot to probably put that is. But it does collect data, so we can start to get logs of, you know, speed records, etc., to see if, you know, the anecdotal evidence and, you know, we've all apparently seen it. I live on Lakeshore, so I see it and I feel like they're going fast, but we'll have hard, fast data to prove that. And then the other one is these 3 quotes to purchase our own. The one that we purchase is intended to be a solar panel unit, so it'll charge itself. It'll have a battery. The one from K&K has 2 18-amp batteries and is a 40-watt solar panel. Things to consider on size of solar panel. We do live in Northeast Ohio. We have long winters. It's not much light right now, so the bigger solar panel is probably needed. So that's the 40-watt one. The two from Traffic Logic. So one is a 12-inch unit. So the measurements on these go by the size of the letters. So or the numbers, I guess it would be. So 12 inches is the size of your speed is 40 miles an hour or 37. So based off of the information we got from Jim and Twistle here at Traffic Logics, 12 is what is recommended for roads 40 miles per hour and under. So suitable for our use out here. They do have bigger units, and that's what the second one is a 15-inch unit. And that one's recommended for up to 50 miles an hour. So don't think that we need to go that big. The one that we have on loaner from ODOT, I believe, is a 18-inch unit. So we'll see the size of that. It's going to be bigger than what we need, but they bought the one to cover all speeds downgraded. So my recommendation, based off of what we've seen and what comes with each system, is to go with I guess it would be the second Traffic Logics quote. So the 12-inch with the universal bracket, full solar panel with the battery. We're going with the white base plate. There were options to go like bright fluorescent yellow or bright fluorescent red. I think those would look great. Or would be needed for the 35 mile an hour on Lakeshore. So that's all the info I have on it. There are some product guides in the back too, if you want to see some of the specifications and details of it. The Safe Pace one, so the one from Traffic Logics does come with a year free cloud version of the data package. So if we could sit here and pull it up on our laptop. The K&K one and the Traffic Logic ones both have Bluetooth options, so you can go and download the data at the rate speed radar sign going forward in the future. So we don't need that cloud access forever. There is options to renew that on a 1, 2, 3 year basis. The more years you buy, the cheaper it is. But I don't think it's recommended at this point. Let's see if we would like the interface, the software, and the data that it provides. If it's useful, we can visit potentially updating the software package in the future. But I don't think it's something that we need to discuss now or sign on for now until we see if it's something worthwhile. And yeah, those are those quotes, and we should see the loaner LTAP ODOT sign out here in the near future. Hopefully it eases the speeding that occurs on Lakeshore, and we'll see if it gives us useful data and things that we can.
Where you plan to put the one of
We haven't decided yet. We've looked. It's going to be on the utility pole, and even on the north side, we have the right of way of Timberlake goes from the center of the road over. So all those telephone poles and frankly even the sidewalk on the north side of Lakeshore is Timberlake property via right of way. So that's the idea for that one. And then the one that we buy with the universal mounting bracket, we have the option to move it around, so it doesn't have to stay out on Lakeshore. So we mount it on the south side somewhere where the sun is clear. There's not a bunch of tree canopy cover, so that the solar panel will do its job. But then we have the option, if we read the data and everyone's doing the speed limit like they should, or we're satisfied with what the sign's done there, we can move it back in other places or areas of concern in the village. So it's going to start on Lakeshore and then potentially migrate to other areas of the village if needed, or if complaints arise and we want that flexibility.
I guess a question, I get two questions, one to Ryan. The old unit that lasts a week, the battery lasts a week, how long does it take to recharge it? Or is it a battery pack that you just have to replace?
There is battery packs that you can replace, but this has a actual hardwired plug-in, similar to say a cell phone where you got to plug it in and charge it. So he said a week or two. We'll see. It's an 11-year-old unit. I don't know how fresh the battery is, and you know how bad
from your house.
I could. Yeah, right across the street. The chief will love that. But we'll see. Like I said, thankfully we have a handy mirror, and he actually had to rewire it because they had it wired wrong, and it's not been the smoothest process or the
Plug it in
nicest
and put
unit.
breakers
It's,
out of the house.
it's like buying a Ford Pinto from back in the day, right? It looks okay, and then you start getting into it. You're like, ooh, this isn't, yeah. So we'll see.
Okay, second question, this is probably for John. How much of the OPEC grant is covering this cost?
All of it.
All of it, okay.
So I think we have 4,000.
Well, there's $4,009 that expire on November 30th. There's a total of like,
In excess of that, but so
there's
we,
a total amount of 7,415 available.
and do you know when the other 3,400 expires? Is it like next
Not-
year sometime? Like we got time?
We got,
Okay.
we have time.
So we have to spend $4,000. Obviously, this does not equate to $4,000.
Do we need to specify what that money is spent for, or is it because it's a grant, we can spend it on anything that applies?
They require quotes and a proposal.
Okay, so we have the quotes,
Right.
right? Does council have to pass a resolution saying how they want the money spent?
That's achieved by this amended appropriation that we passed. So that was
Okay,
sufficient.
all right. Okay.
So this is the intention for the bulk of it. And then I know the mayor had mentioned we need insulation. So you need.
I need a quote for the insulation, and then it was a fan. That maybe
To make up the difference. So
if
If-
there's money left, I mean,
yeah, there will be. Either way we go. So if we elect to say, go for the recommended or the one that I think's best, like, don't take my word, look at the specifications and mayor jump in if you think otherwise, because you've looked at it too. If we go with that, it's only 3168. So we still have 800 some odd dollars to fulfill the rest of what we have through the NOPEC grant. So obviously, we're not gonna spend $800 worth of insulation, but the most that we can use and maximize that grant funding is probably best.
That ODOT one, I mean, it's 11 years old. Are they thinking of getting rid of it? mean,
I can
for-
reach out to the guy. I mean, I have a pretty
No,
good
we-
working
we-
relationship with them. They'll,
We
no,
don't want the old one.
it was just in Richlands County last year.
We want to give it back.
Yeah.
Gladly.
John, what do we need to do tonight?
So we already,
Gotta go through November 30th, right?
so we already passed the amended appropriation. So NOPEC said they just want the minutes indicating that you talked about the quotes and then we had that
Okay, so
amended
we probably-
appropriation. So we should be good. Correct.
Okay.
We talked about the insulation and the fan quotes, or can we amend that later? Without having it done right now, or just that we intend to spend it on that and go with, assume it's a Home Depot or a Lowe's at that, or Ace. Purchase at that point, is there a quote requirement?
Yeah, Lowe's, because they're the least expensive right now.
Okay,
I think the minimum requirement for NOPEC is that they would like quotes of what everything will cost.
Yeah.
So, but they prefer to have discussion in minutes as well.
so could the mayor give you quotes from Lowe's or show you what it is online and submit that to you after the meeting and we're still okay?
Right.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure that we can still get the insulation and the other fan that we need.
John, when does the rest of the money expire?
That I'm not sure, but the 4,009 expires November 30th.
All right. But will, if we submit this for the speed sensor, then we're going to be in a situation where we have spent most of that $4,000.
Right.
The only other thing is that cart that we saw, it's $1,400. That you can basically, it's like a portable stand, and we can move that around. But we want something
I
like
feel
that.
like you're crafty enough to come up with a cheaper dolly option. It was just a dolly, right? That you
It's a
can move it
dolly.
on.
Well, it's made specifically for that.
Yeah, it's an option.
An option to get that too. but-
Yeah, and if we put it up on Lakeshore and we don't think it's needed there anymore and we see it being a more mobile application, maybe we go that route with the, and
With
I
the
don't know if
extra
the funding at that point would be applicable because it's not tied into, solar panel type.
Well, no, that would come as a package.
Yeah,
all the equipment. We get it with the dolly. Because it would be portable.
yeah, but we'd have
Yeah,
to,
with the solar panel and everything, because we'd have to position it in a place where obviously there's no shade. So with that dolly would give us the opportunity. And then again, we can move it around the village if we want to put it, because we've got a lot of complaints on East Shore. People are saying they're flying, so we can set that on East Shore for a couple areas in the island. With that dolly, we don't have to worry about moving it.
yeah,
around.
or mounting it or dealing with all that. No, I don't disagree, Mayor. We would have to get that quote and then include it, and we would have to disperse more than OPEC money because that would overrun the.
No, we.
But
it would
you could,
overrun the-
there's 7,300
Yeah, yeah, but
something available.
we only-
So it could be used this year too. It's,
Yeah.
We only appropriated 4,000.
no, we appropriated the entire sum.
The entire sum, so it's all there?
Yes.
Okay. So if we get a updated quote to include the dolly, which is quite simple to do, then we would be okay and be allowed to go that route.
If we moved around.
Yeah.
You sure
No,
think we'd be happy to-
Hey, I'm not disputing
Yeah.
the merit of it. I'm
Yeah.
sold, but I
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure that we disperse the money and that's what the rest of council wants
What's the
to.
delivery time?
It's a good question. I don't know the answer.
Now, the main thing, John, excuse me, John, we have to pay for it by the end of the month, correct?
The main thing is that we need to get the quotes and documentation and the NOPEC by November 30th, so then they can disperse the money.
He-
So that's the deadline to request the disbursement.
Okay.
I mean,
Request.
he's pretty responsive, so I don't think that more than a day or two to get in touch with him would be an issue. And then, that would less it by 199, because we don't need the universal mounting bracket at that point. Because we're gonna mount it on a dolly. We'll figure that out.
Right, so.
So I will take that action and submit it back to council via email and the revised quote with dolly, if that's what everyone wants to do. Sure, what is the best path forward? Okay.
Okay, anything else? Okay,
Thank you.
Joyce? Finance?
I don't have too much. We had a finance committee meeting between the last time we met as council and tonight. And also had a follow-up meeting with the fiscal officer. We're on second reading, and so really more comments will come next month. But I just wanted to say that I was really encouraged by the fiscal officer's identification of opportunities for increased revenues and some challenges, I guess, that council and the mayor will need to pay attention to as we go into next year to make sure that the appropriations, which if you look at them just as stated, are higher than what our revenue is projected to be. I think the revenue will be higher, and I think that our expenses will be lower. We have in the past managed those well and ended up with a surplus each year that the mayor has been in office, and I have full confidence that now that he's got another 4 years, we will do the same thing. So as we go forward, next month, I will make a comment as we're voting on it where there's projections for an increase in the revenue stream. And I'll ask John probably to do the same thing. John has added a footnote here about council's responsibility to be the fiduciary responsible party for protecting the village from overspending, and we have done that in the past, and I expect that we will do it again. Second thing, commenting on, tailing on Mrs. Hardwick's comments about the village hall, I think it does look great. As you're walking in, it feels festive, and I'm really looking forward to having the luminaria out this year. We sort of got sidetracked from Mother Nature last year as the big storm. That was a big storm, and then we had the big storm in August too. So I'm hoping that everybody will participate in that. It always makes the village great. So that's it.
Thank you. Joyce?
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on, our neighborhood canvassing along Lakeshore Boulevard with regard to the sidewalks. With the change in the weather, we're gonna shift tactics and I'm gonna try and, reach those people we did not speak to directly, by telephone. So I'm gonna go through the directory and see if I can, reach out to those people that we did not hear from. We did leave notices, so they are aware, or they should be aware, but nonetheless, we'd like to talk to as many of those property owners as we can. So I'm gonna be looking to do that over the next month or so. I don't know how successful I'll be because, cell phones change and landlines get given up, but we'll see what we can do and like to do it before the grant comes through, because we may be under a time crunch to make decisions. And so if we could at least get as much input as we can ahead of that, that'd be great. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Leary, for bringing something up about the animals. I love animals, but I get a lot of complaint about animals. It's not so much the animal, it's what the animal feeding brings. The raccoons and the rats. I mean, there are, East Lake, I said this in the last meeting. I'm gonna keep on saying it again, so people know that we're gonna try to do something about it. I do see a lot of animals being fed, wild animals fed, not only deer. People are feeding a lot of animals and they do bring pests. And we're gonna have to do something about it, put something on the books, because I just keep on getting people saying that, when are you gonna do something about it? When you're gonna do something about it? So I'm not anti-animal. And there's what I read this already. It doesn't say you can't have a bird feeder within 125 feet of your house or what have you. But we can't have all the feces that goes along with all these animals either. And thank you, Ryan, for looking into the speed machine. That's what I call it, the speed machine. That's another thing that we keep on hearing about. So, and December 2nd is the Village Club Christmas party, right?
Yes.
So I'm sure there's still time to get in your reservation for that if anyone's interested. But pardon me, quickly. So they're really planning a lot and they're really working hard. And I know, you look at these decorations. I mean, when I tell you they started with nothing, like, a glue gun and a piece of plastic, and they really, when they said they were starting from scratch, I walked in here, I'm not crafty. I was like, oh, this is really scratch. So nothing was bought, everything was like sort of put together. So thank you, Village Club, for doing a great job. That's it.
That explains the glitter on the tables.
Oh, yeah, a ton of.
It's not on mine, is it? Just
Yeah, this one, it's
all
here,
there.
it's bad, yeah.
It's a
They sure do
woodland thing. It's a
ex-
woodland thing.
Explain that to your wife.
I was gonna say, wait till I explain that when I get home. Why you got glitter on you? I thought you were going to council.
Thank you. Thompson?
Thank you. Regarding the tree issue, I mean, everything that's been said, anything has been said. I definitely feel sympathy for what you're going through. It's a shame that it could not have been worked out amicably between neighbors. I appreciate Solicitor O'Leary for addressing the issue tonight. And if it's deemed that there is something that we can do with all the liability involved, then I will do my part, what I have to do. So good luck with that. And I believe that's all. I hope everybody has a happy holiday week. And that'll be all from me.
Good, thank you. Good, police chief report, Chief Schofield.
These are the calls that come through central dispatch for the police department. They do all of our central dispatch. 911 calls, we had one accident, 2 administrative calls, 1 alarm, 3 animal complaints, 3 assist complaints, 3 civil matters, 1 court case, 43 community policing. In community policing, that includes checking the beach and checking the playground and the baseball field below the playground. We had 1 disturbance. We had 40 house checks. We had 15 investigations. We had 1 juvenile complaint, 2 phone complaints, 1 property complaint, 1 theft, 1 traffic complaint, 2 welfare checks, for a total of 122 calls from central dispatch And I copied Mr. O'Leary and the mayor today on an email. I'm sure everybody's noticed we have a hunk of guardrail that was demolished quite some time ago, October 30th, October 29th, I believe. And it's been an ongoing process trying to get the individual's insurance company to acknowledge the claim and start working with us. And they did that today, Nationwide Insurance. So we should be moving forward with the replacement of that guardrail.
Where's that?
On Lake
91.
Shore at
At the end
91.
of 91.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
This is
Oh,
a
yeah.
new section though, so we're gonna.
This
get
is
that.
a section
By the
that
time
was
the year's
never
over, We're
damaged
gonna get the whole guardrail.
It's gonna be a whole brand new
All
guardrail.
the rest of it is all
Be a
brand
dark
new.
guardrail,
Yeah.
Cause it's not allowed to be shiny.
It's it's not allowed to be
It's gonna
shiny,
Attract somebody to run into.
Well, it might warn them that they're gonna hit it.
but
That's
it's
the
now
last
2 layers thick.
Oh,
But this is the only section we haven't replaced and it's expensive.
Are you sure there's not a magnet that they put in that last one to keep attracting these cars to that thing? Cause I drive that road every day. That is hard to hit that.
Not if you've been drinking.
Well,
This is
don't
true.
drink and drive.
And if you're
PSA.
if you're northbound coming up on that intersection and you look at that section of guardrail that's gone, that young man is very lucky
Yes.
because he went through a big tree and a utility pole, mowed the guardrail down, and he hit 2 trees about this big around, 4 feet apart, head on. So yes, it's a lot of damage to the guardrail. It definitely cannot be repaired. It has to be replaced. That's all I have.
Thank you. Gary Gray's not here, so we
There's
don't
your
have a
copy.
zoning and maintenance report. Moving on to purchases and approvals. I have a motion to approve the October 2023 financial report.
so moved.
Mr.
Second.
Joyce makes a motion, Mr. Conrad seconds. Discussion. I'm being heard. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Hardwick.
Aye.
Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
I,
Okay, we'll move on to our second public portion. It's 3 minutes per person. Again, directed at the mayor, council members, reserved for follow-up questions on the topics that were discussed at today's meeting. Questions?
Yeah, I'd like to follow up with the feeding of the animals. Have we also looked at maybe culling our herd? Our deer, we have 2 small ones that followed me like a stray dog the other day. And then my mom and I were in the front yard and a buck was walking. He was about that far away and he would not run. I threw a rock at him. He chased it like it was an apple. So people are feeding the deer and they're not afraid of us. And now we're starting to get the herds of the bucks right around now, breeding time. And it's scary. I mean, they can kick a hole. Those cute little fawns that are running around, they followed me. I've 5 or 6 houses. I was very nervous. So I hope we can address something with feeding of the animals and maybe address how large our herds are getting for such a small area.
Hey, Mayor, if I may, we wanted to add on, there were 2 bucks yesterday in my front yard on Lake Shore fighting, ramming each other, right? So it's that time of year. They are amped up, they're rutting, they're ready to reproduce. And I guess I don't know what you do with it. But you can't really get rid of them, right? Unless you have a licensed hunt here.
Well, if we
Which
stop
isn't
feeding
gonna
other
happen,
things.
but
If we
that's
stop
one.
feeding them, we could get.
Yes, that's
They
one
would stop
avenue.
by certain houses. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Like,
Is
There's
to
a lot of houses, more than you think.
Yeah.
You know, and I love animals too, and I was stupid enough 7 years ago, you know, to think, oh, look how cute and this and that, and my dog got to ticks, never had ticks before. I'm like, oh.
You need to tell me I have to leave my shrubs and my grass.
And your hostas. Too sweet.
Only certain shrubs.
I just want to make one comment that we've had complaints and I actually saw the buck myself as a result of probably a fight. He had a broken antler dangling and his face was all bloody and blue, so I probably obviously saw him right after. But we've had a lot of people call because they want the police department to do something about the buck with the broken antler. There's nothing.
Who do you call? DNR, maybe?
They call the police department.
Well, I know who they call, but who do we call to?
We have a
Game
wildlife
warden.
officer.
Yes, state, it's with the state.
He covers a couple of different counties.
Big
Nice
area.
young man. He would come out if we asked him to come out.
Okay.
There's a buck in
I
my
think-
backyard with a buckshot in his leg. It is a quarter. You see it open and it's big and it's red. And he lays down and it's the EI last one. He's slowly probably.
Yeah, he's
supposed to die.
I think I saw the winner of the two fighting because of the 10 point. That walked
They're big.
within like 10 feet of our house today.
He's strutting his stuff. Big man won the fight.
Oh, yeah.
Broken antler here was in the triangle coming to your house.
Okay,
They are.
yeah, this one was establishing a territory.
When you follow the guys in your lot, you're responsible for it.
Yeah, right.
Cause I had the one guy was shooting them with arrows and he had to die in my backyard.
Mhm.
And the only reason why I got it on there was because I told Philip if he wanted the arrow, he had to take it here with me. But it's true, it's your liability. for dying in the dog.
Question, just, I don't know.
Normally, there's people that fight over the deer that come get it to
Yeah, get the.
dress it and use it for steaks.
Yeah, but no hunting allowed in Timberlake, right? That's definitely an ordinance.
Not unless they get hit by a car.
Yes.
I did have a follow-up question. You said you were gonna look into that second ordinance that was the tree one. And I was just wondering when I would hear anything about that. Is that something I should come back next month to do in here, or will
If you-
somebody?
If you haven't heard by next month, certainly come back, but I wouldn't think.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, need to run executive session. Do I have a motion to enter the executive session, please? Mr. Joyce makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Conrad seconds. Roll call, please.
Mr. Joyce.
Aye.
Mrs. Joyce. Mrs. Hardwick.
Bye.
Mrs. Mara.
Aye.
Mr. Conrad.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
We don't anticipate any action.
No action to be taken out, so. Usually.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Frank?
you should.